testosterone is under attack, especially at the moment. I just looked at this article, which I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, and they were talking about how associated with the virus, I don't think I can say the proper name because everybody's getting banned right now. Associated with the virus, they believe that men are getting it more than women. So what they want to do is give men estrogen shots in order to lower their testosterone, in order to combat the virus. Guys, this is insane. What the hell is going on at the moment? It seems like every single ploy, every single plot is designed in order to lower men's testosterone levels. It all started with Dr. Kellogg's, the guy who invented cereal. He wanted a bland cereal that was sugary, a bland food that was sugary, in order to, full of carbs. It was able to lower men's testosterone. It was able to lower libido, and it would prevent things like rape, aggression, etc. It all started back then, and since then our testosterone levels have been under mass attack from every single area. Now, it's not just our testosterone levels on the surface. You've got to think about the behaviors that society doesn't like us to do. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking about #MeToo and how that's going to affect dating, seduction. I've been meaning to make a video on this before. I finally got around to it. So the truth is, guys, it doesn't affect anything. So everybody believes that #MeToo is going to change the world forever, and men are going to approach women in a completely different way. We're all going to be holding hands, skipping along the road, thinking about unicorns, right? It's not going to happen that way. Everything's going to be as it used to be. Things aren't going to change. Women still want masculine men. Women still want men to approach them. They still want the same mannerisms that they used to want in the last 5, 10, 20 generations, right? But everybody's scared, and I get it. I get that you think you're going to approach a woman, you're going to say what you'd normally say. She's going to think it's a #MeToo type approach. She's going to say you're weird. She's going to send you on your way. You could get into trouble. That could happen in the office. That could happen in multiple environments. None of us want that, but I promise you, just look at the rest of society, right? There's people like Anthony Joshua. The shape that guy's in, you could not say that he's not an alpha male. He's about 18, 19 stone. What's that, about 230, 240 kilograms? Sorry, not kilograms. About 130, 140 kilograms, maybe 240, 250 pounds. He's a big guy. And so many women like the way he looks, and he's a boxer. Could you get more alpha male than that? The way he looks, he's a boxer. He knocks people out for a job. Come on. But the #MeToo movement has got men thinking that we need to drop our testosterone, we need to be a little bit softer, we need to be a little bit more delicate. But you look at all these environments, you've got Jason Momoa, another guy who's considered one of the sexiest men alive. Shredded, masculine face, big muscles, the long, strong hair and big, strong beard. The big, deep voice. Every role he plays, he's punching or kicking somebody or fighting somebody. This whole idea that we need to get softer, we need to get filled with estrogen from, I believe it was the Wall Street Journal, or it could have been New York Times. I believe they're all the same anyway, in my opinion. But saying that men need to get injected with estrogen in order to fight off the virus. This is insane. And you look at men's testosterone levels, they've been dropping for generations now. So according to data, our grandfathers had 3 times more testosterone than we did and 3 times higher sperm count than we currently do. I should have said we do on both. This is massive cause for concern, because you think to yourself, where's it going to be in another 20, 30, 40, 50 years time for our sons, our grandsons, etc. I think we're getting to a point where, men will be more like women. And as we've seen in the animal kingdom plenty of times, when the male gender drops, the female gender takes its place. And we're seeing that already. We're seeing the natural roles be reversed. So men are now staying at home looking after the kids, and women are going out to work and earning more money. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying we're slowly losing our male identity. And if anybody speaks out like I am now, we get called a Nazi, or we get called, we get framed as somebody who's against women, who hates women, when really you're just trying to protect what you currently are. And there's something that society does a lot. If you try and say something good about one group, there's an opposing group. So I'm talking about all men right now. I'm talking about black men, white men, Spanish men, Mexican men, etc. Throw us all, Indian men, throw us all into one big bubble, but then they'll find an opposing party, and we'll butt heads over this. And I hate that whole concept, especially when we're just protecting the male gender. What the whole male gender is about, what our natural genes tell us to do, what our natural epigenetics have been programmed to do from our fathers and grandfathers. And all of that is being stripped away and taken away, and testosterone levels are dropping. We're struggling to have babies. Our behaviors are changing. Like I said, there's more men staying at home now, which is fine, but that was never a trait that we used to do before. There's less men who are worried about succeeding, more men who are worried about kind of female-like drama, as in who's dating who and what he said about me. Men are adopting a lot of female traits year by year. And I just feel as though there's this major attack on male testosterone because, I don't know if we can get into it, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around right now. But in short, the more controllable we are, the easier it is to pull things off. I think you guys have probably seen enough things on the internet to know what I'm talking about. But it's easier to control people in general if the most aggressive gender is not as aggressive anymore. If that one hormone that is making us aggressive, competitive, the way we reject authority or go against authority, the way we question things, we're curious. Testosterone drives all these behaviorisms, and if they take that away, it's going to make us very soppy. It's like I've always said that you either get wolves or dogs, and men originally are wolves. A lot of us get turned into sloppy dogs, kind of looking up to our owner. Can you feed me? When can you feed me? When are we going for a walk? Whereas a wolf will just go and do whatever it wants to do when it wants to do it. But society is going down that route. Now, it's not all bad news, because with more men becoming a lot soppier, becoming, I guess you would say, less masculine, it opens up a whole opportunity for men everywhere, us lot, for example, who are aware of this. All we have to do is take advantage of that space that's being filled. So I've said before that obesity is on the rise, people are getting fatter, and I don't think this is a problem because competition becomes lower, which isn't a very masculine thing to say, because competition is good. But if you're going to look at one positive from all of this, the less men who are masculine, the less men who are in shape, the less men who do have masculine traits or testosterone-filled traits, the less competition there is, and the easier it is for you to rise to the top. And especially as something becomes rarer, it becomes more appealing, especially to women and other men as well. Other men will look up. I'm seeing this all the time, especially with Steve, the guy who you've seen do a lot of training videos and who was on the podcast with me. A lot of guys that train with him will say, how are you such an alpha male? How are you in such great shape? How do you speak so confidently? Because most men are going that way. So when they see what they were naturally supposed to be going that way, obviously they gravitate towards it. They want to know what that esoteric quality is to make you like that. What is it that they're not doing in their life to be like you, their natural self? And like I said, on the topic of something like #MeToo, so many guys are just fearful now of, how do I approach women? If I say this, is she going to respond this way? You've got to think about it less and less, guys. It's Brendan Sharp, who does the podcast, The Fighter and the Kid, and sometimes on Joe Rogan. He said that #MeToo is a witch hunt for witches. So unless you've done something wrong, you shouldn't be worried. Kevin Spacey was walking around grabbing people's nuts. You've got these kind of groups of men that were going around just raping women, doing what they want. I'm pretty sure none of you are Harvey Weinstein, put it that way. So the 99.9% of us have got nothing to worry about. But the way society's molding us and bringing this together makes all these guys think, I can't be my testosterone fueled self. Now, every single pickup artist you'll ever speak to, and one guy I've been speaking to lately who's going to put his content on our streaming platform when that goes live, is the Travel Bum. And this guy's a genius. He's unbelievable with women. And he always speaks about being confident, being very masculine, whatever's on your mind, just kind of being yourself, just that masculine energy and letting it flow. And I feel like #MeToo and the kind of decimation of testosterone is destroying that. But I guarantee you guys, all women still fantasize about masculine men. They see it, they're not going to look at a guy who's 100 pounds in weight, who can't fend for himself, who doesn't have a job, and be like, do you know what? He cares about women. I'm going to be with him. They're still going to turn and look for the guy who might be 6 foot tall, built like a brick shit house, has a strong masculine jaw, and fucks like a rabbit with, you know, who's a powerful guy, who's aggressive, who's competitive, who goes out there and gets what he wants in life. That will still always be top of the chart. Now, one of the things that will trick you is what women will say. So a lot of women will say, oh, I want a guy who's caring. I want a guy who's this. I want a guy who's that. But when that guy comes along, they ignore him for the more masculine guy who's ignoring the whole #MeToo type stuff. And like I said, it all just revolves around the concept of testosterone becoming lower and lower, and more of us being afraid to be our natural self. So we're in this kind of estrogen-filled cocoon of, let's say if you're on a roller coaster, you're going along, you don't want to stick your arm out because you think, oh, it could be dangerous. The consequences could be dire. It kind of feels like that scared guy on the dance floor who's like dancing within himself. He's not making exaggerated movements. Those exaggerated movements in a metaphorical sense, in terms of life, like going and starting a business, making a video like this, being on the street and just dancing for the hell of it, you know, just going up to a woman, approaching her, saying whatever you wanted to say confidently, her rejecting you and you saying, yeah, fine, have a nice day, and walking away. These are masculine traits that still should exist today. And I guarantee you guys, the alpha male type of body language, the confidence that comes with it, the ability to be a big, strong man and say, it's okay to be this way and approach life in that manner, will get you places. It will get you places in a work sense. It will get you places in a success sense. It will get you so many places with women. It will get you places in your social groups. You'll get heard more. You'll get what you want. And I'm not talking about complete aggression of grabbing somebody by the throat and saying, here's what I want. But what I am saying is that those kind of inherent traits that make us men, just being confident, wanting to speak, wanting to lead, wanting to be the person that is a shining example. Don't be afraid to show these traits. Don't let things like, oh, estrogen injections are going to help men with their immune systems. We all know that's not true. As we get older, our testosterone drops, we get ill a lot more. It's not rocket science, right? But the media will have you believe that this is the way to do it. Forget about all of this #MeToo. Forget about the whole culture, which is, I believe in gender equality, but to say that men shouldn't be physical, men shouldn't be aggressive, men shouldn't be competitive. Oh, that's mansplaining. Oh, that's manspreading. Like, there's experiments that have been done on men to look at the way their hips are aligned. Our bones literally do this. Where our pelvis is, our bones literally align in that manner. And they found that it's like 12 times more comfortable for a man to sit with wide legs. Yet we get penalized for it. Don't read too much into this, guys. It's a very, very, very small pool of women. And that's the thing. I'm not blaming women, because the majority of women will openly say that they want a man's man who is able to just come home, pick them up, you know, do what you will, and use your imaginations. But society has us think in a completely different way, and it's very dangerous, because if you get into that way of thinking, you fall into that trap, you think you're doing the right thing, it's going to be a lot worse. So there's so many guys that read all these books or Hello magazine, and they see all these headlines from women saying, we want a man who's caring, who's this, and they read all these fucking female blogs, right? Then they try and become that man. They try and become the nice guy. They start wearing sweater vests, etc. They go for long walks on the beach. And they find that all that happens is they can't approach women. They get too nervous because they're thinking too much. They can't attract women because they're nervous as fuck. And women don't want to be with them. And then number 3, when they do get a woman, they can't keep them because a woman is looking for that masculine man. And these same kind of traits happen all the time. So let's say you go into a workplace and you want to succeed, you want to excel, and you think, I'm going to handshake my way to the top. I'm going to be the nice guy. You're going to get stood on. You're going to get disrespected. You're going to get ignored. You're going to get told to do overtime and never get praised for it. You need to speak up. You need to have those, like I said, inherently masculine traits. We were given them for a reason. They drive us forward. You look at anybody who's at the top, and I'm not saying make these people your role model, but somebody like The Rock. The Rock he's very open about what he does. He's built his whole brand on being masculine. So he's done wrestling. He's a giant guy. He takes steroids somewhat openly. I think most people know, but he doesn't admit it. Every film he's in is an action film where he's fighting, punching, being the aggressive big daddy role, You look at somebody like Donald Trump, okay? And that's why I was saying don't idolize these people. But the way he gets what he wants, the way he stares people down, the way he stands up there confidently, and if somebody asks a stupid question, he digs deeper. He says, okay, reveal it. Just the other day, somebody was asking, I think, about how the price of oil was down, and he said, well, what price is it? And the person said, well, I don't know, and tried to move on. He was like, well, what price is it? That aggression right there, that masculine trait to ask again and say, no, you got to answer for your questions. You've got to answer for your meaning, sorry. That's what makes us men. And although articles, society, etc., everything you see, these injections, whatever this fucking shit will be, whatever comes next, they will tell you to go down this route, but you'll find it actually makes things worse. So stick to the masculine stuff. Ignore #MeToo. It's a load of shit. Obviously, don't go and, do something you shouldn't do. It's not great to be the Weinstein type of guy. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying your normal life that you were living anyway, just carry on living it. Because I guarantee, in terms of just being a normal, everyday guy, nothing's going to change for you. If a woman says no, walk away. What's the difference? It's always been that way.